Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 22nd, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully, you've had a good Saturday, having a good Saturday. I myself, mine is going well. Let's see, we've been pretty busy but productive, so that's good. Let's see, we started off nice and early. I woke up like in the middle of the night. I forgot to like turn the TV off. I like fell asleep, and I was like, "Uh oh!" But then I was able to just turn it off, fall back asleep. So that was nice. I get up around the time I wanted to, which was around 7, so I could kind of get up, get ready for laundry, and we get set up and we get there early, which I was really happy about because I knew last time I went and did laundry, like everyone was there and they were open before opening. So I was like, all right, let's get in here. I know I have a lot of laundry to do, more than usual, just because I wanted to wash like an extra blanket. I wanted to wash some house hoodies, all this yada, yada, yada. So I was coming in with both barrels fully loaded. And I get in there and I already see like, oh, pretty much all the usual washers are taken. I wasn't even planning on using those. I was planning on using a big one, and like 2 of those were taken. So I had to pay extra for like the biggest washer they had. And I was like, oh, brother, look, I'm just happy to get in before, it was taken. So there we go. Let's lock it in. Get in there. And I'm kind of chilling, just chilling on the bench, because I like to normally chill in my car because I don't like to be inside, especially post COVID. I just was like, I don't like the vibes in here, and even nowadays I still don't, which leads to the story I'm about to tell. So a lady comes in and she has like just a ton of laundry. Also, fun little side note, I recognize this lady. She used to work with me at my current job, and I was like, okay, and I've seen her around before, no big deal, whatever. And she proceeds to ask the person who has one of the washers. She goes, "Hey, do you have all 3 of these?" And I think there's like a bit of a language thing between the two of them. And he goes, "Yeah." And she then proceeds to get very flustered. And she's like, "That's crazy. Like, why would you do that? Like, I need one." And I think he's just trying to play it off like she's joking, but I can tell like she's serious. Like, she's upset that she isn't getting hers, which I'm thinking like, you're out of pocket as hell. Like, it is a very snooze you lose situation. You're just gonna have to wait in the queue. That's just how it goes. Sorry. And I'm sure she's thinking the same thing I thought like 2 weeks ago. Where it's like, hey, I'm coming here like right at the start of the day. This is crazy. But also I'm thinking like she's brought like so many loads of laundry, and it's crazy that you're banking on, essentially you want the same thing. You would have probably taken up like multiple of these washers. I was like, whatever. So she gets a little upset. She walks away. Not even, I think, 5 minutes later, she comes back and she's still mad. So she's still talking to the guy. And then at this point, another person who, another side note, I'm pretty sure I've worked, like they go to the same gym. This is a very small world, all converging at my laundromat here. And he pipes up, he goes, "Hey, leave him alone. Like, he got here before you. What are you even talking about?" Like, and then she's yelling at him saying, "Hey, I'm just talking to this guy. You don't have to worry about it. Da 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 da." And it's like, but clearly she's just harassing this dude who just really doesn't want to talk to her. More or less at some point goes, "Hey, look, I just got here before you. I don't even know what to tell you." And then the spoiler kind of reveals itself. One of the washers runs up and another guy comes and takes it. So essentially, there was just, like I said, a mix-up in communication here. This guy is only on one washer. I have another one, and another guy had the third one. So she's just really just, once again, been out of shape over something she just really shouldn't. I mean, in my opinion. But granted, did I squawk up? No, because I kind of knew that was probably going to happen. I don't like to insert myself in these kind of situations. Like, look, I'm an NPC. I'm minding my own business, all right? So, outside of that, it was pretty much a normal run. Also, it was worth noting, too, I think the person who was working, kind of comes, and she's like this nice old lady who, in my opinion, talks a little too much. But hey, that's her way of doing customer service. I'm not gonna knock it. And she kind of comes to like say, "Hey, is everything all right? Is everything okay?" And of course, the lady completely turns her tune. She's like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine. Everything's good." And the dude's just like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like, I was trying to get my laundry done. So yeah, like I said, outside of that, it was fine, smooth laundry run. Get all my laundry done, get it all folded up. Then after that, we go to the gym. Gym was solid. I got in my heavy lifts. I got in on all my equipment, all my cardio, so that was good. So yeah, that leads us to now. We're here, and we're ready to yap about some news. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's go ahead and get into some news. It's nice to see that in Cincinnati, the weather is pretty nice today. Kind of nice and cool, and not like gray and miserable how it kind of has been all week. Not to mention wet and rainy, which I've not been enjoying having to work and drive around in. Ugh. All right. Our first story comes from Reuters. Ex-Philippine mayor Alice Guo given life sentence for human trafficking. Now, this is a story that caught my attention because, and I might be wrong, but I feel like I have covered this before last year, like when it initially popped off around that time. So this may or may not be an update. I can't, confirm that 100%. But regardless, it just seemed like a story up my alley, so I figured we just go ahead and just give it the full rundown. A Philippine trial court has sentenced a former mayor accused of having ties to Chinese criminal syndicates to life imprisonment after finding her guilty of human trafficking, a government anti-crime agency said on Thursday. Alice Guo ran for mayor in Bamban, an agricultural town north of the capital Manila, as a Filipino citizen, but she was later identified by law enforcement as a Chinese national, Guo Huaping. This eagerly awaited ruling is not only a legal victory, but also a moral one. It delivers justice to victims, reaffirms the government's united stance against organized crime. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, PAOCC, said in a statement. Guo's lawyer did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Guo has previously denied links to criminals and has also maintained that she is a natural-born Philippine citizen. The Philippine Senate launched a congressional probe into Guo in May last year, 2 months after a police raid revealed a scam center operating out of a facility built on land partially owned by Guo. It was one of many such centers to spring up across Southeast Asia in recent years. The raid uncovered hundreds of trafficked workers, including foreign nationals, resulting in a human trafficking complaint against Guo from the PAOCC. The court also convicted 7 other individuals for trafficking and sentenced them to life imprisonment. The PAOCC said the facility was ordered to be forfeited to the government. Guo's case has gripped the Philippines, where suspicions about China's activities have been building as a result of escalating tensions in the South China Sea, in which the two nations have overlapping claims. The Senate held Guo in contempt and ordered her arrest after she later refused to attend congressional hearings. She fled the country but was later captured in Indonesia and deported to the Philippines in September of 2024. Guo, who was removed from office by the ombudsman in August of 2024 for grave misconduct, also faces other criminal charges, including graft and money laundering. The controversy surrounding Guo intensified calls for a crackdown on Philippine offshore gaming operators, which are largely run by Chinese nationals catering to clients in China. These operations thrived during former President Rodrigo Duterte's administration, but later came under heavy scrutiny and were eventually banned by President Ferdinand Marcos. That was a pretty big story that I wanted to cover. It kind of took me a little bit to get to it because there was a lot to talk about this week. But I figured I'd go ahead and start there. Our next story that I just kind of had pop up, I feel like today, this is pretty fresh. At least I think the story took place last night. But anyway, from CNN, electrical fire that erupted on cargo ship at Port of Los Angeles now substantially contained after no injuries reported. A fire that erupted Friday evening on a cargo ship docked at the Port of Los Angeles, requiring more than 180 firefighters to battle the blaze, is now substantially contained, according to a news release Saturday from the seaport. An electrical fire on a lower deck of the cargo ship 1 Henry Hudson started at 6:38 p.m. local time, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. An explosion shook the vessel shortly before 8 p.m., knocking out power to lights and cranes, LAFD said. A spokesperson with the LAFD said the cargo ship has since been moved. Captain Eric Scott told CNN Saturday the ship was escorted beyond the Vincent Thomas Bridge around 3 a.m. local time. No injuries were reported, and all 23 crew members have been evacuated from the ship, authorities said. So that's some silver lining there. They go into some more details just about the Port of Los Angeles and things like that. I definitely want to come back to the story if there's any more, important details that come up, any major updates on, the potential cause or anything like that. But like I said, happy to hear that, no one was injured, no one was hurt. Doesn't seem like there was any kind of bad infrastructure damage, kind of like the Francis Scott, I think it's a Francis Scott Key Bridge it's the Key Bridge, Baltimore, right? We covered that story last year. There was an update that I listened to, I think from Start Here, where they found out that from the ship, the issue was one of the wires, like something in the wiring was fucked up. And that's what caused the outage, which, caused the ship when they were, was driving to lose control and then crashed into the bridge, doing a lot of damage, and, people died in that situation. So, kind of a bit of side news there, but I'm glad that at least in that comparison, no one died. So that's good. And no massive damage as well. So that's also good. But let's go ahead and move on to our next story from CBS News. 1 deputy killed, 2 wounded in Vero Beach eviction shooting. Indian River County Sheriff confirms. A longtime Indian River County deputy was shot and killed Friday morning during an eviction at a gated community in Vero Beach, marking just the second line of duty death in the sheriff's office in 100 years, authorities said. Deputy Terry Mashkow, 47, a 25-year veteran of the agency, was fatally wounded when gunfire erupted during what Sheriff Eric Flowers described as a routine call for service. 2 of the deputies were also shot and remained hospitalized. The shooting took place at a gated community in the 1100 block of Governor's Way in Vero Beach, an area roughly 140 miles north of Miami. Sheriff Flowers said the deputies were carrying out an eviction requested by the suspect's family members when the violence broke out. This is not someone that was on our radar. This was our standard call for service, the eviction, the regular duties that our officers do day in and day out, Flowers said during a press conference. The suspect, identified as Michael Halberstam, described as being in his late 30s, was shot by deputies, underwent surgery, and is currently in critical condition, the sheriff said. Halberstam has a prior criminal record in Virginia, and officials said there had been at least 1 previous call for service at the residence. Florida Attorney General James Uthmire, said he learned of the deputy involved shooting just as he was beginning a news conference Friday morning. We are praying for the brave officers who put their lives on the line to protect Florida and our families, Uthmaya wrote on X. I guess I'll just end this with the last thing from, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also confirmed that 3 deputies had been shot. All right. Now we have one more story that is a bit lighter, not as heavy, but still scary. We're going from shooting to a whole ass fucking bear attack. But yeah, let me go ahead and take my last break and we'll go ahead and close it out. All right. From the Independent. Multiple school children critically injured in grizzly bear attack. A grizzly bear attacked a group of elementary school children and their teachers in rural Western Canada, officials have confirmed. 2 people have been left seriously injured in the attack, which took place around 2 p.m. local time in the community of Bella Coola, around 600 miles north of Vancouver. Authorities have also said that the aggressive bear responsible for the attack is still at large, but have also warned members of the public not to go hunting it. British Columbia Emergency Health Service officials have also confirmed that 7 more people were treated at the scene. Parent Veronica Schooner told the Canadian press that her son, Alvarez, was in the mixed year 4-5 class that was attacked by the bear while on a walk. She said that her son was so close to the bear that he had felt its fur. She goes into the story. He's running for his life, and he winds up limping, and he's crying for his friends. It's really scary. It's also wild just to see kids kind of snap into those moments of just doing something very just very mature, and it's whoa, to see a kid really hurt and wounded and probably scared out of their mind, being I care and worry about my other friends right now. I'm gonna say a prayer for them. What? What do you, I would just be screaming my head off. And now that I'm thinking about this, it puts something in perspective for me, because as I'm recording this, I literally hear kids outside screaming and running around, having a good time, not being chased by bears. So that's awesome. Love that for them. But I was thinking about this earlier. I'm man, it's so weird. Kids just have to scream. They have to emote. But then once again, you put them in these pressure cooker situations and they just lock in and they're yo, but what about little Billy? What about Tammy? Is she gonna be okay? God, I hope she's okay. You have the mental capacity to think about Tammy like that. But really, I just, up until now, I've just figured you cared about Fortnite and that was it. So I don't know, man, there's really layers to kids. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at here. Let's see. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull from this story? No, not so much. I just really wanted to highlight, I guess, and just cover a bear attack a little bit. I don't want to say it's a good thing. Definitely no. It's just interesting, seeing, bears be active like this. Unfortunate though, and I hope that it can be resolved without executing the bear. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I'll definitely, keep you posted on the fate of, the bear or bears involved potentially. I don't know. But anyway, I'll keep a lookout. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I have for today. Bit of a shorter, lighter episode. But yeah, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars are appreciated on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, but pay you no mind. If you don't want to click any of those buttons, you don't have to worry about it. I really just appreciate the fact that you let me into your ear holes on hopefully a daily basis, or whenever you find the time to just kind of catch up on some episodes, catch up on my daily lore, my takes on the things going around, in the world. That really means it means the most. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.